Chiefs Kingdom, we have breaking news as Skyy Moore was placed on injured reserve, ending his 2023 regular season. Now, this comes as somewhat of a shock because Andy Reid in his press conference today mentioned nothing of this. He just said that Skyy Moore was removed and did not play the rest of the game. We found out today his knee was swelling, and now he's done for the regular season. So we have to look at this updated wide receiver depth chart because a lot of moving parts now. Wide receiver 1, still going to be Rashee Rice. They talked about Kadarius Toney. We're going to talk about him in today's show, and maybe he might be benched. That's coming up here later. Marquez Valdes-Scantling at wide receiver 3, and then there you go, Skyy Moore. He's not there anymore. Now, there is one thing to note. You see all these names on the bottom. Justin Ross down there. He actually is not technically on the roster fully, but this makes room for him to come back. Now, what do I mean by not on there exactly? Well, the Chiefs got a roster exemption after he served his 6-game suspension on that little kind of domestic violence abuse, whatever it was. Not going to go into full detail, but he basically got a 6-game suspension, was taken off the commissioner exempt list, and missed this past couple weeks. Now, without Skyy Moore, it's a clear plug and play. You put Ross up there, open roster spot. You don't have to cut anybody. Don't have to worry about that, and bingo, bango. Now, this is why you subscribe, because we got breaking news, and we get it to you right away. So stay up to date with everything Chiefs-related, and make sure you're in the know. We've got a good show coming up for you, talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Kelce and Isiah Pacheco injury updates, along with, like I mentioned, Kadarius, Toney, and the possibility of him getting benched. So subscribe right now, and enjoy the show. The Chiefs got back in the win column for what was almost a month's time yesterday as they beat the New England Patriots in Foxborough 27-17. And there's a lot of news, a lot of updates that we have for you after that game. So we appreciate you joining us right here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Sanders, and this is what we got on tap for you today. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, were we wrong about him? Man, he played pretty well and had an outstanding catch in the game. We're going to talk about all that and what's to come with him, plus an Isiah Pacheco update on that. And then Travis Kelce had a quote-unquote stinger yesterday on his elbow, got taken out of the game for a little bit, did come back in, but Andy Reid did provide a full detailed update on what's going on and what he expects from Kelce moving forward. Plus, Andy Reid was asked about benching Kadarius Toney, and he had an interesting answer to it. We'll give you that here later on in the show, but for right now, we had an absolutely legendary stream last night, or rather yesterday morning, and I got to give some shout-outs to everybody who was a part of it. And the first guy is our Super Chat MVP because, man, oh man, he was a legend, and he's right at the top of our December leaderboard. Will Markham, I want to give a shout-out to you, man. You are our Super Chat MVP. I really appreciated everybody who was in on a historic stream yesterday. It was actually one of the best streams in Chiefs Report history, and it's all because of you guys. You know, we appreciate everybody who donates, everybody who watches, everybody who comments, likes, subscribes. Ultimately, that's all going right back to here where we can make better shows and more shows for you about the Chiefs and everything going on in Kansas City. And if you heard me say that December leaderboard and you're wondering, Jace, what's that? How can I get a part of it? Well, here is our leaders right now in our December leaderboard. As the guy in the top spot, or girl, you're going to get a special surprise at the end of the month. We have 2 more streams coming up. We also have some Tuesday live shows, which do count. If you'd like to join us for that, we're going to have one tomorrow at 3 o'clock. But for the games, you have the Christmas game this Monday against the Raiders. And then on New Year's Eve, the Bengals and Chiefs take on each other at 3:25. That'll be the basically acclamation of the entire month of December. And we'll reveal our winner about who gets the prize and what the prize is that month. So if you want to be a part of it, well, then come join us for our live streams. But we really appreciate everybody here. Ronald Akers, Will Markham, Michelle Shelgren, Tammy Jackson, and Charles Park. Y'all are all legends, and y'all made yesterday's stream the best in Chiefs Report history. All right, let's get to the Chiefs Report news here as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Were we wrong about him? I mean, this guy absolutely balled out yesterday, and it was something that I don't know if anybody expected. Now, I will say this. I think the receptions are where he has always excelled in his career, and that's where he excelled yesterday. 4 receptions, 64 yards. He was actually the second leading receiver. It was Rashee Rice and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. For the billionth time in a row, the top 2 wide receivers, they weren't both wide receivers. Usually it's Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice. This time it was Rashee Rice and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a running back. It's funny, though, because we were talking about trading this guy at the beginning of the season. We thought, oh, maybe he might not make the roster. When 53-man was coming out, we thought maybe he might be cut. I mean, there was talks about Deneric Prince, Samaje Perine, Lamichael Perine possibly getting that spot. Ultimately, this guy He came out, Clyde took the spot, and I think a lot of it was because Patrick Mahomes liked what he saw in Clyde. He's a first-round pick, and the guy really showed it. And the one catch that made him a superstar yesterday was this one right here. It was the only touchdown pass of the day for Patrick Mahomes, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, by the way, is like 5'8", has like a 6-inch vertical here, maybe a foot over here, up in the air, falling backward, catching the ball, acrobatically falling down with it. He gets the touchdown grab. It was absolutely insane. And really, it's the reason he was a first-round draft pick. His receiving abilities are something that was unmatched in that first round. That's why the Chiefs took him. And he showed it yesterday. And I think, honestly, like there was a lot of talk about him getting cut, a lot of talk about this, that. Yesterday, he showed why exactly he deserves to be on this team and why he was a first-round pick. Now, I do have to ask this question because it was just one game. The week prior, he played well, but it wasn't as well as yesterday. He only had 60 yards total. Yesterday, had about 90. So, was this just a fluke, or were we wrong about CEH, and is he back from the dead after he had that amazing rookie year and then kind of went silent for the past couple? Is he back? If you think that, then type B. If you think that was just a fluke, probably won't see too much of that much more this season. Then I want you to type F, get in the comment section, and let me know, as I think this will be an interesting discussion. We do have to talk about Isiah Pacheco because the reason Clyde was playing was because Pacheco was out with that shoulder surgery. Well, guess what? We got an official report, official as you can get. Coach Reid said he'll be back this week. Now, he did preface by saying he kind of expects it, and it wasn't necessarily guaranteed, but the fact that he said he'll be back this week makes me feel pretty good, which makes me look at this running back depth chart and think, all right, Isiah Pacheco, dog. Jerick McKinnon, dog. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, dog. This running back room is kind of insane when you look back on it here now, week 16 in the National Football League. These guys are playing at an outstanding level. I think McKinnon is so underrated with a lot of things going on. So I'm liking to see what we can get from both these guys, both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jerick McKinnon, once Isiah Pacheco returns. Now, I don't know how the dynamic will work because Isiah Pacheco has been that kind of bell cow back, but overall, I'm excited to see where it will go. And I'm telling you what, you're going to want to see this running back room in person. And if you're going to go to any games, well, then make sure you use Game Time because guess what? You can get $20 off your first purchase if you use code ChiefsChat. And Game Time, I'm telling you, it's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater events in your area. Now, you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event, and Game Time is going to give you the peace of mind when buying tickets with their best price guarantee. Now, I know, if you're like me, you've had some frustrating experiences on ticketing apps. Well, Game Time, they take that away. It's super easy. And honestly, their app is a bright and future way to show exactly what you're paying for your ticket and knowing where your ticket is going to be right away. They got flash deals, zone deals, and last-minute tickets. Well, I'm telling you, Game Time is the best at that. Plus, you can see it's really simple. A couple clicks, you're going to get your tickets right there. And like I mentioned, you use this code ChiefsChat, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. I'm telling you, there's no better deal here than right there at Game Time. And they're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money. So they also have those zone deals that I mentioned where you pick a section, and then Game Time will pick the seats to get you an average of 18% of savings. So do yourself a favor, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, download the Game Time app, and create an account using code ChiefsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHIEFS, CHAT, ChiefsChat, no spaces, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price guarantee. All right, this running back depth chart, I'm telling you, Pacheco, McKinnon, and Helaire, I think they might match up with pretty much everybody else in the league. And so I kind of thought about it. Now that we've seen what CEH is ability, and you have a first-round draft pick as your running back 3, is this the best running back room in the NFL? Well, let's take a little bit of a deep dive into the other good running back rooms in the National Football League. Here are the top 3 that I kind of motioned with the Chiefs. Mostert and Achane over with the Dolphins, pretty good. Achane, the rookie out of Texas A&M, looking pretty good. We saw what Zach Moss could do while Jonathan Taylor is out. Had a couple of absolutely amazing games. Now Moss actually hurt as well, so we'll see how that works. But Jonathan Taylor, I mean, you got to be kidding me. You have Taylor, and yet Moss has been playing, I mean, almost to that level this year. But the one that I think may be the kicker that may really, really challenge this Chiefs squad is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit. Those two guys have played at an outstanding level, and I was honestly surprised to see Jahmyr Gibbs drafted in the first round by the Lions after they got Montgomery, but they're proving that it was a smart decision. But I think the depth-wise maybe still goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. You've got 3 top-tier running backs, whereas these, you've got 2. I mean, we saw the Colts and Trey Sermon this past week after Moss got hurt, but I don't think you can really count that. It's one game. Now, Who do you think has the best running back room in the NFL, though? Are we going to be biased here and say the Chiefs? Because, I don't even know if it's biased when I say Kansas City. I think they're probably one of the best, if not the best, especially when it comes to depth. If it is, then type KC. If you think it's the Colts who have the best running back room in the NFL, then type IND. If you think it's the Dolphins, then type MIA for Miami. And if you think it's Detroit Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, then type DET. Let me know in today's comment section. Travis Kelce updates. So if you watched yesterday's game, or you kind of followed along with it, you at least know that Kelce was taken out for a couple plays after he fell kind of awkwardly on his elbow, was obviously in pain on the ground, and he came out of the game for a little bit, did go back in, but really wasn't a factor by that point. It was late in the fourth quarter, didn't really need him. Now, he looked all right after the game, and Andy Reid did want to give us a full update saying that it was a stinger, and from his words, we'll see what happens this week. He'll probably be fine to go, given it was cold. It may have been a funny bone situation where he just smacked it wrong and ultimately had to come out for a couple plays. But Andy Reid said there shouldn't be any worry about his availability coming forward. And ultimately, he said at worst he may be a limited participant on Wednesday, but he doesn't even expect that. So that's good news to hear for Travis Kelce. Now, let's talk about the other big story in yesterday's game. Kadarius Toney. Now, you had the win, you had Clyde, you had Kelce's injury, but I think one that maybe trumps all of it is Kadarius Toney and his problems that continue to arise even in wins. Even in wins. Now, there's a lot of things that can go along, so I think it's important to kind of talk about Kadarius Toney for a second. Now, I think the big thing here is that there has been a lot of issues with Toney this year. In week 1, he had the drop that led to an interception. Yesterday, he had a drop that led to an interception. He was offsides 2 weeks ago that ultimately led to the game being over. Now, he did technically score the game-winning touchdown that was called back, so you kind of got to play devil's advocate to say, well, if he was offsides, you can't also credit him with the touchdown. There's a lot of things that went wrong. I do agree that when he has the ball in his hands, he is one of the best players, but there has to be something to be said that should they bench him? Well, guess what? You, me, we're not the only ones thinking that. Andy Reid was asked that by the media yesterday after the game, and he said this. We'll see how things go. I'm not down on Toney. He does some good things for us, man. He's a young guy. We're not talking about somebody who has been in the league a long time, and that's fair. He's a young guy. He's a young guy. So I want to kind of dive into this topic just a bit. Now, if you watch yesterday's game, you kind of saw the moment that he dropped that pass into an interception. And they cut to Patrick Mahomes on the sideline after the interception, and he could tell he was frustrated. And there wasn't exactly a perfect group meeting. Some people said, you got to catch the ball. Some people said, he said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to try and say he said this or he said that, but it was obvious his frustration was real. And it's fair because this isn't the first time that Kadarius Toney has dropped a ball into an interception. In fact, if you go back to week 1, he had 2 drops. One of them led to a pick 6 that ultimately lost the game. He also dropped another one that would have put the Chiefs in field goal range. They lost that game by 1. Now, I'm not going to sit here and blame these Chiefs' losses on Kadarius Toney because it's a team sport and everything has to come down to play. It's not how exactly that works. The Chiefs should play better throughout the game, therefore you're not in that scenario. But there is something to be said about trust and how exactly Patrick Mahomes can trust Kadarius Toney along with the rest of this receiving corps. There's been drops by every single person. Funny enough, though, I think the thing that people regret to talk about, or rather maybe don't want to, the guy with the most drops is the guy who is having the best season, Reid. He has almost 9 drops this year. That's the most among the team. But guess what? He's having the best year. And a lot of his drops don't lead to interceptions. Now, at the same time, you have to look and say, well, Rashee Rice is a rookie. Kadarius Toney isn't a rookie. No, but he's also young. He's still learning. And I think people forget that this is just his second year with the Chiefs, and it's not even a full year that he's had last year. He's had some injury problems this year. There's a lot of things that he's still growing. It's his 3rd year in the league. He's not that old. There's a lot of things that I think people just kind of want to not look at when they look at Kadarius Toney. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's the best receiver or that he can be a good receiver, but I don't know if benching him is the right position to do that right now. But maybe I'm wrong. So I want you to let me know in the comment section if you think Kadarius Toney should be benched. Type Y for yes if you think, yeah, let's bench him right now. Or type N for no if you think, nah, I'm kind of with you, Jason. He's young. Got to give him some time. I don't think we need to bench him just yet. I do agree we need some more snap adjustments, maybe not give him as much snaps, but benching doesn't exactly seem like the right option. I think he deserves to be on the field as much as he has been, at least maybe a little less. But let me know if you agree with me. Type Y for yes if you want to bench Kadarius Toney. Type N for no if you're thinking, nah, let's not bench him just yet. But with that being said, we appreciate you watching here on the Chiefs Report. As always, Chiefs Kingdom. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, along with our live show at 3 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you join us, and we'll have a good time, along with talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see you tomorrow, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out.